Hello, everyone. It's Christmas. It's almost the new year. I've put up a proper background for this time of year. We don't have that much snow right now. This was a few years back. Um, anyway, I thought I'd do a video to give you a little year-end review and wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So, first off, this photograph is from January. Our friend Peter came over for dinner early in January. I believe this is dated about the 7th of January, something like that. Um, Actually, the 23rd of January. His dog Molly enjoys spending some time at our place, but she gets a little bored when we're around the table talking. So here she is sacking out. This is January. We're all inside, warm and cozy. Next photo is from February. This is a loaf of bread that I made. I was making a bread in a Pullman pan. So I continued to make bread quite often during the winter and especially during the winter. I think I was trying to restart my sourdough bread. I did that in January, February, and I continued to bake some sourdough, but it wasn't working very well for me this year, so I stopped. However, recently, just in December, I've started again. So um, I'm back to making sourdough loaves of bread. Next photo is from February, I believe, um, as well. The bread is from February, and this is just a top of a cup of coffee. I really enjoyed the pattern that it makes when you put a little cream in a. This is from, I think, an espresso coffee. So yeah, so that's February. It's still cold. We didn't get snow this year until about the first week in January, but then we got a lot of snow from then all the way into April. I think was the last snowfall that we received. The next image is from our bougainvillea inside. We always bring the bougainvillea um, in the inside in the winter. It usually loses all of its leaves, and then after a few weeks, it starts to regain its leaves and then flowers. And this year, this is in March 29th, actually, I think, and it's in full bloom inside the house. I think when we took it outside, it dropped all of its leaves again and its flowers, and then later on in the summer it bloomed again, and now we've brought it back into the house. So yeah, that's the bougainvillea in March. Kind of gives us a little break from the winter cold winter snow outside. This year I started growing corn. I sprouted corn in the inside. We were feeding the squirrels corn outside, and I thought, well, I'll save a few kernels and maybe I'll grow some corn for them this year in the garden. That never worked out, but the corn did sprout, and we had it probably grew to about 2 feet before I decided I wasn't going to plant corn in the garden this year. So there's an example. I did plant some tomatoes inside, and we used those tomatoes in the garden. So I probably had about 30 plants, I think, this year. All of them were my own, except for two cherry tomatoes that we purchased at the garden center. And here's a tray of cinnamon buns that I made sometime in March, I think. And it was like 16th of March. Made a few cinnamon buns. Again, keep us warm in the winter. And then on April 8th, we got ourselves a huge snowstorm. Here's a view from our back sliding door out to the west, showing how much snow we received in, yeah, I think it was April 6th that this came. And then a few days later, we got most of it melted. I think I posted some videos about that earlier on. And then on April 9th, we left Ottawa for our trip to London and catching a cruise of the Mediterranean. So we were on Princess Cruise Lines. We flew to London, stayed at a hotel in Southampton. We caught a bus from Heathrow to Southampton, spent 2 days in Southampton, had great weather. I think it was 20 degrees at least. So we toured around Southampton on our own and then picked up the cruise a couple days later. The cruise took us to Spain, to Portugal, to uh, Gibraltar, and then into Corsica, France, Marseille, France, and then back through Gibraltar and to Southampton. So there was a 12-day cruise altogether. Great time. The one picture there, Canada, not Canada, that was a T-shirt in the Ottawa airport. When we were leaving, we saw that. So I have not posted any videos about the cruise yet. I'm hoping to do that once I have some time. Finally, in May, we finally got some flowers. So this is the magnolia. We have two magnolia trees, two small magnolias in the backyard, and they gave us some flowers. This is starting in May 4th, I believe. Right around the same time, we get our apple tree flowers, and the petals all drop. And this was a photograph of the flower bed below the apple tree. Now we had great apple trees, great production from the apple trees this year. I believe I posted a video from August when all the apples were dropping from this one tree, and we were away for the reunion in Show Lake. And yeah, we thousands of apples from this tree. The other tree was also pretty loaded with apples. They didn't fall as much. They stay on the tree for most of the winter, and the squirrels like to eat them. So, but this was the apple flowers in the flower bed. At the beginning of June, we traveled to Toronto to attend the funeral of the husband of one of Eleanor's cousins. Died suddenly in the beginning of June. We traveled to Toronto. We stayed with her other cousin, Lori, and her husband, Tony. They have a dog, Bowie, and Bowie kind of likes us, and he took over our spot on our bed when we arrived. So yeah, that was that was a sad time. On July 19th, I got my first harvest of cucumbers, and these are grape tomatoes. That was probably my last harvest of cucumbers, because what happened after that was the squirrels got into them and ate all of the cucumbers, and they never recovered from that. So I'm not planting cucumbers anymore. The grape tomatoes did pretty well this year. They were the first to harvest. This is July 19th. However, the rest of my tomatoes did not do that well. I had 30 plants, and I probably only had an average of 6 or 8 tomatoes per plant. So it was enough for us, but not as much as I had expected. I gave some of my plants to one of our friends, Olita, and she had a much better harvest. She had about 6 plants, and she probably got more tomatoes than I did out of my 30 plants. So next year I'm going to have to change up my routine for growing tomatoes. We did have much better luck with our beans, however. This is the first bean, I think July 30th. But we did have a lot of good luck with our beans. I had to replant a couple of times. The beans that we purchased in a package didn't sprout as they should. However, the beans that I saved from the previous year did really well. So this is the first bean, but we did get a lot of beans. not too many tomatoes, and the cucumbers were a disaster. So next year, I guess it's just tomatoes and beans, and we'll see what else I can come up with. And of course, we continue to have a large family of squirrels, or families of squirrels, that we feed every year. We feed them all winter long, all summer long. We've had up to 8 squirrels in our backyard. Some of them come from the neighbors, but we have some local ones that live in the trees in the front, and they give us lots of entertainment all year round. I feed them. I have a dried corn on a cob, dangling from a spring that it's fun to watch them tear the corn off of there. We feed them peanuts, and they give us lots of entertainment in the year. So I'm thinking of perhaps building them a house to live in, which I can put into the apple tree. In June, my niece's first son, Parker, graduated from high school. This is Parker. He's 17 years old in this picture. He turned 18 in October. He graduated from high school in June. And well, it's not on the beach, but that's the background that I chose for him. But yeah, he's a very nice young man. We met him when we were in Deloraine in August for the reunion. But yeah, Parker's very nice and graduated high school. And I forgot to mention the rabbits that we had in our backyard. All spring, we had, I think, as many as 5 rabbits. We had two large ones, one juvenile, and then 2 babies. One was crippled and had a bad front leg, and the other ones were really tiny. When we came back from our trip to Deloraine in August, most of the rabbits had gone. The small ones were never to be seen again. And we have 2 rabbits, one that's always out there, and a second one that's been showing up recently. So I don't know what happened to all the others, but we had 5 rabbits, and 3 of them were large and jumping around at each other. It was an interesting spring and most of the summer. So in August, we traveled to Winnipeg and Deloraine and Shoal Lake, particularly to visit with my sister and her husband, Dennis, and then to attend a semi-family cousin reunion in Shoal Lake. This photo was taken at the property in Shoal Lake where we were staying at an Airbnb. On the left is my cousin James, then Karen, then Neil. Doug is in the front looking dapper as usual. My sister behind Doug, and me on the far right. So that's the 6 cousins. We had a great time in Shoal Lake. We toured some of the backwoods country north of there up to Zaporozhe, the school area. So Dennis, Wendy's husband, took us up in the truck in that area. So I'll have some videos later of our trip up there as well. But yeah, so this was in the beginning of August. We flew from Ottawa to Winnipeg, rented a car, drove to Deloraine, stayed with Wendy and Dennis for a few days. I went to Shoal Lake, then back to Deloraine, and then back to Winnipeg, and spent a couple of days with Doug on the front end and the back end. While in Deloraine with my sister, we started playing dominoes. In fact, one day, I think it rained most of the day, and we had 15 games of dominoes. So when we returned back through Winnipeg, we stopped at Walmart, and Eleanor picked up a set of dominoes. So we've been playing dominoes at home, trying to recreate our time at the lake in Deloraine with the kids playing dominoes. That was very interesting time. So we learn something new every day. At the beginning of September, just before our trip to Japan, I got stung by a wasp while cleaning out the eaves trough during a rainstorm. I didn't expect a wasp to be in there, but I got stung on the finger. I ended up going to the hospital to make sure that it didn't get infected, but this was the result. I apologize for the graphic nature of this photograph, but I thought you'd just like to see. I ended up with blisters because this wasp sting was on my finger and the swelling had no place to go. It swelled, my hand did swell up, part of my wrist swelled up, but I had blisters on my fingers. Those blisters eventually went away. I kept them wrapped. They healed up nicely, and my finger is not a problem right now. But yeah, I'm quite allergic to wasp stings, and this proves it. So later in September, we traveled to Japan, Yokohama in particular, which is a city just south of Tokyo, for a conference for the office. Even though I have retired, I am able to travel to a couple of conferences. I took one of my partners, my former partners, with me to introduce him to some clients. Um, so we stayed in Yokohama. We were there for 10 days in total. Uh, we had 1 or 2 days at the beginning to tour around and 1 day at the end. So we ended up, this photograph is from Tokyo, the Imperial Gardens in Tokyo. They have sculpted trees, and it's a very pretty area, but very hot and very humid while we were there. So we stayed in Yokohama, like I said. And I wish we'd had more time to travel around. We should have spent another week or so traveling, but we didn't. We missed 1 day because of fog in Ottawa. We were unable to get a flight out of Ottawa to make our connection to Toronto, so we uh, delayed 1 day. We would have had an extra day. But I have some videos that I took there, and I'll be posting those at some point later. We returned on the 18th of September back to Ottawa. In October, it was a busy month. We got a new air conditioner. We did some traveling around, doing some shopping. I removed a tree from our front yard. I've posted some videos about that. It was an old birch tree that had died, a weeping birch tree that had died, and we cut off the branches. My friend Mark came over and helped me take all the branches off. I borrowed a chainsaw from the neighbor next door. We cut most of the tree down. I left about 5 feet, I guess, of the stump. And then I cut out all the roots and was able to tip it over, finally get the stump out, and eventually got it cleared off with the help of the contractor that was working next door. So that was a big project in October. Um, I also finally took the invitation of our neighbor and friend Angelo, who took me in an afternoon to his farm where he has 4 horses. This is Angelo with one of the horses. I think this is Friday. He trains Friday, and Friday pulls a sleigh and pulls. They ride him from time to time. So yeah, it was very interesting. Angelo bought some steaks. We had a great barbecue. His son Anthony was out working on a deck and a roof that they're putting on their trailer. So yeah, it was a great day. Had a great time, and yeah, that was our yeah, October. So in November, at the beginning of November, we celebrated um, my friend Eddie and his 80th birthday. We went to the Mandarin for dinner. And this is a photograph of Eddie and his wife, Sue. So we had a great time celebrating with our friends. Eddie just bought a new electric bike that I help him assemble, and we're looking forward to the spring when, or he's looking forward to the spring when he can ride it, and I'll show him the some of the trails around that he can ride on. And then what started next was Christmas baking. Here's some fig pinwheels that Eleanor has made for her Christmas baking. She's got several boxes of baking stacked up, and we're handing them out to friends and relatives around. So yeah, Christmas baking is well underway in November. Also in November, we were privileged to attend the burial of the ashes of our friend Olita's brother, Luciano. Um, Luch died on January 23rd, suddenly um, after contacting an infection, and he was cremated, and Olita buried him at Pinecrest Cemetery in at the beginning of November. So we attended that. Um, Luciano was a great guy. We knew him from interaction with Olita over the years, and yeah, it's very sad, but we were happy to attend the burial of his ashes. And of course, later in November, we start getting our Christmas decorations out. I put up the lights, I think, at the beginning of November. I like to take the opportunity when it's warm to get the lights up. And Eleanor is always looking around for a Christmas decoration with some cedar branches, some birch logs, and she puts together a very nice decoration on the front every year. So that's our Christmas decoration for the front of the house. And finally, I'll leave you with this one last photograph. It's the display that our friends Gaetana and Angela have in front of their house. It's two a snowman and a snow lady, I guess, made by a friend of theirs of cut logs and other pieces of wood that he's put together. Unfortunately, he's recently passed away, so this is very sentimental for them, and it's very festive for the season. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for your friendship all year long and watching some of my videos. And it's Eleanor's birthday today, December 21st. So she's getting a lot of calls, and that was one of her calls for her birthday. Anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll continue to post videos. Some of our trip, hopefully in April, and to Japan in September as well. And some of the some of the videos that I took are of our visit to Manitoba. Particularly the Buddhas, the Swiss Dune Buddhas. I've got a video up there, and should be interesting. So anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Take care. Continue to watch. Bye now.